Hello and welcome to your Virgo full moon reading. So before we get into the cards, both the abbreviated and the extended version of this reading, I wanted to say that if you're watching this on the actual day of the Virgo full moon, so February 27th, you have the option to join me this afternoon for a live tarot and meditation. So if you want more information about that, I will put a link below, but it's something that I'm doing once a month now for my Patreon community, and anyone who wants to join that's not joining the Patreon community can buy a one-time ticket. But if you wanted to join at patreon.com/Michelle Shea, you get first notice on all of these events. You get access to monthly tarot scopes, weekly tarot card readings, audio riffs that I do like little mini podcasts every month, and then the extended versions of these readings. So if you like these videos and you want to continue on, Patreon is where to find that. And if you join the Patreon before 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the day of the full moon, you can also have access to the live event. So without further ado, we're going to dive into some cards. If you're not familiar with these readings, the abbreviated one online is a oracle card from the Total Betty deck that I created, and a few more oracle cards chosen for the Virgo full moon. If you want to continue on with more information, the extended reading, which will be on the Patreon full-time fortune teller level, is going to have about 10 additional cards to really dive into what this energy means. So, shuffling up the deck, starting with our Total Betty Goddess. The Total Betty Goddess deck is available at michelleshewalker.com, and it is a deck of 90s themed goddesses. So your favorite 90s characters playing your favorite goddesses. And it's honestly my favorite deck to use, even if that is weird to say since I created it, but I created it because I wanted it in the world. So we will find out what our goddess is for this Virgo full moon energy. Okay. So this one kind of goes along with this Pisces sun that we're in right now, because our goddess of the moment is Rizzo, played by Marla Singer in Fight Club. So what this card means is that we are having a lot of information come in through our subconscious. So it's a really good time to pay attention to your dreams, to pay attention to the songs that get stuck in your head. Your unconscious mind is really giving you some messages right now, but in particular during your sleeping hours. It's played by Marla Singer because there is a theme across the board in Fight Club about sleep and dreaming and the illusion that happens when you're kind of in between these worlds. So I highly recommend journaling your dreams or writing down any notes when you wake up, because there is significance to it. And the key to trying to translate your dreams is usually that you are your best answer key. So you can definitely look things up in dream journals or online about what the symbols mean, and sometimes it is helpful, but sometimes there are symbols that are specific to you. So if there's something in your dream that makes you think of something from your childhood, then that's something that you're going to be diving into. Or, you know, it's trust your intuition when it comes to translating things, and then seek outside help from there to kind of fill in the blanks. So as we move forward, we're going to go into some other divine feminine goddess energy with a new deck that I have. We're going to pull some cards from the Sassy She Oracle. The Sassy She Oracle was created by Lisa Lister, who, if you have not heard of her, I highly recommend finding her online. She is the author of the book Code Red and the book Witch. So she is an expert in the field of witchcraft, personal magic, and especially the power that comes from tapping into your cycles. And that can be cycles if you are a menstruating being of your actual monthly cycle, or if you're not, it could be cycles of the moon and how you can tap into that energy and better plan your life and your obligations based on when you are going to be more motivated and when you need to relax more. So check her out, Lisa Lister. I believe she's Sassy Lisa Lister on Instagram, but I will tag that below. And we are going to dive in with a little past, present, and future from the Sassy She Oracle. Okay, so for this Virgo full moon, we are coming from a place of ooh la la. So this card is, you know, definitely a little sexual energy. In particular, I feel a lot of energy coming off this that's very much just being sort of into yourself and letting yourself be into yourself. So I think this is kind of coming from a standpoint of the fact that most of us have spent a little more time alone over the past year, and there's a whole ebb and flow of emotions that happens there, but hopefully at some point you kind of got into yourself or into your life or into your home, and this is coming in with like, it's okay to have solo time that you're really like emphatically into. How can you enjoy your own company is the question you've been asking yourself, and that you've actually kind of succeeded. This card's showing up because most of us have pretty well succeeded in, you know, enjoying our own company. And that has opened up the door for the present energy of passion. So that makes sense. When you're feeling yourself, the outside world starts to notice you a little bit more. You are definitely projecting out into the world a feeling of confidence, a feeling of self-worth, and then that is coming back to you with passion, both in inspiration for you to take action for things that make you feel passionate, and also other people seeing you as a passionate figure and being intrigued by that. So keep these in mind. Know that the ooh la la internal has really been what ignites that passion both within yourself and within your interactions with other people. And if at any point you feel like you need more passion in your life, that's a sign to dive back into your solo pleasure time. And I mean that literally, but also just energetically, of enjoying your own company and embracing what's good in your life without having to engage in interactions with others. That's a big message that I know I've been integrating a lot, is how to disconnect my energy from the outside world to find more of that passion and pleasure within my day-to-day life. So if you're needing a little break from social media or for outside opinions so you can tap back into that ooh la la at any point, know that that's always there. The future card that this Virgo moon is bringing into our lives is peace, which just feels like a breath of fresh air. Even just looking at that card, it's an interesting shift, because we are coming from these bright pink and passionate and sexy cards into this more mellow blue and peaceful and introspective energy. So I think this makes sense. We've created passion within ourselves. We came from a place of being kind of more solo and maybe not happy with it. We've made sort of this passionate internal fire. Then it kind of started to go out into the outside world, and then the pieces kind of are coming back in, because it's, again, like I was talking about with Lisa Lister's teachings, everything is an ebb and flow, and it's a cyclical thing. So for the Virgo moon, I want you to really think about the idea that your energy doesn't have to be constantly moving outward, but when it wants to move outward, let it. And then if you start to feel like that's kind of losing fuel, you can come back in, and that's okay. So play around with that. And I think that that's really gonna be, I feel a lot of outward energy going in with this Virgo moon, and this need to kind of share things with the world, especially the things that you've learned or the things that you have really integrated over this past year and a half. There's this feeling of like finally things are making sense in your personal life, and you kind of want to share that wisdom with the outside world, or share your passion, share your creations with the outside world, and that's amazing. If that's the impulse you're having, go with it. But if that starts to trickle off after a while, know that the peaceful inner work is what got you to that point of being able to share. So don't feel like you're moving backwards if the energy comes back in. It doesn't mean that you didn't learn the right lessons the first time and you weren't sharing something good with the world. It's just that there's always more to learn, and the best way to learn and integrate those things is to bring it back to the self and bring it back within. So just enjoy this time of sort of being a little showier. This passion energy feels, you know, it's like a belly dancer girl, so it feels a little like, hey, look at what I did, look at what I created, look at what I'm capable of. and then it's gonna come back into a more introspective energy, and none of that is wrong. It's never wrong to have these ebb and flows. So it's all about allowing that. And I think the fact that our goddess from the Total Betty deck is the goddess of dreams and the subconscious is also make room for rest. Like, just because your energy is moving more outward right now doesn't mean that you need to just blow it all at once. Like, you can kind of trickle it in and then come back out, because ideally that's how we do it. We don't want to go forward and outward so much that we burn out and we have to come back in to like have it retreat for like months on end. It should be a little bit of both all the time. So even when the energy is moving outward, don't restrict it, but make time for rest. Make time for that coming back and listening to your subconscious. So I hope that these oracle cards have served you well. If you are interested in this topic that we're talking about, I am going to dive further in with about 10 to 12 cards from the Wild Unknown deck. So again, if you're interested in the extended reading here or in having access to the monthly events that I do during the full moon, head over to patreon.com/Michelle Shea. The full-time fortune teller level gets access to both the extended readings and the monthly event. But if you don't mind not having access to the extended readings, you can join the monthly mystic level, and that has access to the events as well. So if you're watching this before 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on February 27th, you can feel free to join me for this full moon live event. And if you don't want to join the Patreon, you can head over to the link below and find your ticket to purchase for today. If you missed this one, there's another one coming up next month, so just stay tuned. If you are on my Patreon already, your extended Virgo full moon reading starts right now.